查球，查球，查球。
Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink. That nightmare again. I need a drink.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce. How do you feel?
Did I sleep long?
The day is only starting. It's fine.
你还无戏？
No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
他就死了啊！
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
You two know each other pretty well.
It's a tiny island. Everyone knows everyone. Especially since I'm a police officer and Marie's a doctor.
The chemistry is obvious.
I do seem a little bit stupid, don't I? Anyway, let's get back to the business at hand.
What I'm sure of now is that the Hawkins case isn't just an accident.
And what brings you to that conclusion?
The fact that Charles Hawkins survived the fire.
I don't understand. Mr. Hawkins was buried.
Bullshit！
That's what he would have you believe.
I have a hard time believing you.
因为你嗝了啊，干！
Bradley, you even opened fire on him.
I'd remember that.
Why would he fake his own death? Do you think he covered up his wife's murder?
That's possible.
Seems
这个
hard.
医生是不是有问题
Do you
啊？
have anything more
Oh.
concrete, Pierce?
你的记忆出了问题啊！
What do you remember?
I don't understand your question.
The night we went into the Hawkins mansion. You don't seem to remember the tunnels and what occurred there.
No memory of going down any tunnel. No, we were in the manor, then,
说啊，
The rest is quite blurry. I don't recall how I came back home.
And
啊
then,
I went
啊，
to
就被
visit
超攻
Captain
击了。
Hawkins. and called on Marie's help to get you released.
And you don't remember the events of the tunnel?
I don't. Let's talk about something else.
看哦，水不够，够。想跟话，算了。
Given the energy he pours into Riverside, I presume it was Fuller's creation.
His father's, to be correct. He was a surgeon on board the Scylla. He founded the hospital in 1904 with funds from the Hawkins family before he died and his son Thomas Fuller took over.
Two families inextricably linked.
Most island families are that way. Captain Fitzroy's father was also a seaman aboard the Scylla.
Powerful families dominating everything.
Yes, and as you could tell, Dr. Fuller is like some crazed emperor.
He wouldn't be happy if he knew we were snooping around.
I know the risks. I don't fear him. Do you wish to know anything else?
I found a file bearing Sarah Hawkins' name in the Institute's basement.
It makes sense. A powerful family like the Hawkins had the means to hide such a disgrace.
But everyone knows the Fullers have been taking care of the Hawkins for at least a generation. And all were aware of Mrs. Hawkins' fragility.
Perhaps, but no one would allow a psychiatric internment.
From what I read in the file, Fuller used her as a subject of his experiments.
Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins, subjects of Dr. Fuller. Why those two?
Dr. Fuller seems to be leaving a trail of corpses. Not to mention those strange machines, chains, and tools of all kind.
Yes, I've been telling you that Fuller uses his patients as guinea pigs.
What I saw was more akin to torture than medicine.
Do you even hear what you're saying? Dr. Fuller is highly respected.
It's the
Bullshit.
truth, Ethan, and I'll prove it to you. I'm listening, Mr. Pierce.
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
被洗还死了。
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't see what, but something was there, with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
He's right. We can't ignore the truth.
But it could drive her mad.
Better madness than ignorance. Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
此时不讲，更待何时？
This time.
I'll do my best.
差2点。
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
是什么屁都不记得了。
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may.
家太红了吧？
Before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here.
该不会他的女儿吧？
You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
Yes.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me.
哇，这样说的话都非常
May I
没有病才有奇怪。
when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack?
哎呦，
What happened?
你干嘛？
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
太靠北了吧？
Mrs. Sanders, I understand your grief, and I extend my deepest condolences to you. But I had nothing to do with the death of your husband. I've just arrived on Darkwater. I'm investigating the death of the Hawkins family.
The death of the Hawkins family? You mean it was not an accident? This accursed island knows only tragedy after tragedy. You too would be advised to flee it like the plague.
你们这岛被诅咒啦！
Mr. Pierce, I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can't imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
其实我没有想看啊。
Lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it, I would urge you to make the most of your visit. Because I count on ridding myself of that thing.
好，很好，烧掉，烧掉。
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long.
这烂东西不要干。
Did she really care for him after all?
“看，签了一个卖身契。 侦探，我是个钢琴家。
The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives.
Oh, what the fuck?
A house of artists. A house of artists. Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even?
Oh. Oh. 原谅。
Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler. Finally. What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why?
长得这么鸡巴恐怖。
She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel?
我
The Shambler. I need to see it.
“加一点医学，加一点神秘学，太好了。” 能去我晃晃。
Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph.
唱片。这种东西啊。
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the courage. Pay somebody to do it. He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes. I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
That accursed gallery. Those accursed paintings. That accursed Sarah.
Irene, I made a mistake. I fear that it might be too late for me. Nobody should enter, except to burn everything. I never had the
它
courage.
这上面有写，
Pay somebody to do it.
不见了。
He's inside my head. I see him behind my eyelids each time I shut my eyes.
要好看一点的话吧，放这些鸡巴嘞。
I can't take any more. I can't hold him back. Forgive me.
医疗加一。喂！为什么这样问？这将影响你的命运。What the fuck？ 这一轮关于怪物与未知生物，这些生物都是真实存在的。当小说就好了。喂！它便在你的尾一抓，将你撕裂的粉碎。长的。已故。 去了一些理智靠背啊，所以便是不解锁会比较好吧。克苏鲁的，画廊的钥匙，打不开不就不相信了吗？屁呀、
An old diary. Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing. I could use one of those.
我能用得上这些啊，我就这样干走。
That's twice you've stepped on my toes, Detective. Try not to make a habit of it.
I've got a lot of bad habits.
Some can be more fatal than others. What have you come looking for in this gallery?
找你呀、
I have a well-off client in Boston who heard about the death of Francis Sanders and wanted me to size up his estate before making an offer to his widow.
Nice story. Bad lie. Learn how to dupe, Detective. But as long as you keep out of my way, you're free to carry on with your visit.
And you, what brings you to the Sanders home?
I'm here on business. Irene asked me to liquidate all these paintings. She doesn't intend to hang around here for long.
Why you?
Believe it or not, there aren't many collectors on Darkwater. It needs someone with a network and a means of transport to the mainland. A choice that comes down to Fitzroy and me. And I'm far more pleasant, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Not now, sweetheart. I'd like to read this without some snoop looking over my shoulder. Go take a hike, Detective.
什么凶凶
Go
啊
take a hike, Detective. Go take a hike, Detective.
凶凶欸为什么要躲起来啊？要遇到什么小啊？石像鬼面具。
These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times. These artifacts date from pre-Columbian times.
圣甲虫欸。
The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery.
术品太口吧。
The public entrance to the gallery. The public entrance to the gallery. Why was he so interested in old weapons?
一样的呀，偷懒还是这样。对，怎样怎样？瞎小。幻觉吓不到我啦！
What the hell was that?
下雨。怎样怎样？ 嘛？我要干嘛？
加班，跟他行一行。
要快了。
There has to be a link. Maybe if I destroy it. Damn. I could try tearing the painting with this thing. Damn it! This dagger didn't work.
就塞啦！
Damn it! I have to use a specific dagger.
Woo! 这把，但不对。这把亮亮的一定是他。干。 也不是这个啊！会被插死哎！还有什么线索吧？直接来这里了哦！啊！
What the hell was that?
哦，
Down. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Damn it. 对。 就是这把，哦，你不对。
Damn it! I have to use a specific dagger.
等一下，等一下，等一下！哦哦啊！靠背！赢哩！
What the hell was that? That maybe I can use this dagger.
Huh?
Damn it. This dagger didn't work.
Just fight out!
Damn it! I have to use a specific dagger.
"这个看起来像章鱼的手，那就是没用。这赛啦！还是没用，死定。是你吧？哦 ，fuck！
Damn
没有提示，真的是测不出来。这个，哇！该不会每把都要戳戳看吧？哎，也不对。哦！不对！干！这个图啊，
What the hell was that? Damn. Maybe I can use this dagger.
Bullshit.
This dagger didn't work.
Deal.
I'll have to use a specific dagger.
哎呀！我得把全部都捅完。你怎么那么近啊？
What the hell was that?
他都捅过了。
I can use this dagger. This dagger didn't work. use a specific dagger.
那你干嘛？失败，被杀。
This dagger looks different.
你妈的！你妈的，去死！啊，手手！ 叉。
What's the matter with you? You sure you won't be needing that hand? You're losing it, Detective. At this rate, you're right. The bottle will get you before I do.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so too.
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I still got things to settle with Irene.
你是不是有什么几个秀？ 血。
Where's the bookseller? Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century. An old diary.
船。奇怪。按呢？喂。
The Book of Zion is the foundational work behind Helena Blavatsky's Theosophical movement. Its followers place truth on the same footing as a religion. What happened here? Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work.
电摇头。
Someone tall left this footprint. A man, probably.
屁啦！看个字，这个你他妈看得出来？看得出来身高？
This burglar seems to be rather clumsy. What killed all these animals? What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the... Charles Hawkins?
你他妈看是？
What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess?
怎么输？啊！
Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe.
长看不出来。
Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe.
十香橙树，带给我。 在3个圆筒唱片，在下世界中其结合的地方。 OK， 找到。
Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills?
要用安眠药，怎样？
What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet?
Hmm.
对的。
好了。
Arkham editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions? Never heard of them. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions? Never heard of them. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions.
几个啊？哦，圆通唱片。
Wonders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them.
又要选择阅读。
What does this strange book contain? This
What?
book contains
Okay.
unholy knowledge.
「叫你跟让我看书哦，看书有事。更了解古诗。是。
A kind of chalice.
圣杯。
Things are not looking good.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham Editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
The Queen has little protection. The Queen has little protection.
I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers.
I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny.
减少棋子，3个棋子，3吗？
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
The Chalice of Knowledge.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the
Chalice of Knowledge.
2、3、3、
Grail does not protect me from
Son.
its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and Other Horrors, seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
39，简单。
So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume.
第9卷
So these are the volumes that Drake... What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular... So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about... So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume. So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular volume.
《暗黑之书》是不是？黑暗宝典。金蛇被投射到另一具身体上。啊？
This man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
What can you tell me about him?
He was highly agitated an hour ago. We were about to tie him down when he fell asleep. 10 minutes ago, he curled up into a fetal position. I thought he was waking up, but no.
I don't recognize him. Did he just arrive on the island?
He said he worked on the docks, but not with Captain Fitzroy. I think he works for Ms. Baker.
Who?
You know, the woman at the head of their gang. They call her Cat.
Oh, I see.
Do you have other questions?
What are his symptoms?
His temperature has been going down, his skin losing its color, his body rigid. I closed his eyes myself. They were glassing over. I didn't want them to dry out, and I couldn't bear to look at the expression on his face.
You did well. Don't worry. Let's stay professional, if you will. Show me his file.
That's not possible.
Don't tell me Dr. Fuller has taken this file as well. We need it.
That's why I called you. This man's ailment has been hidden from us.
Come on now. What was he treated for?
An intoxication, I was told. After inhaling chemicals.
That'll do for the time being.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Did you inject him with a tranquilizer?
No, Doctor. Not me, not anyone. Our stock is empty, yet again.
Again? But there was enough for the whole island.
More and more people are suffering from insomnia. We can't refuse to help.
Of course.
Any idea what this man might be undergoing?
Very well. I'll examine him. "30-year-old subject. Severe hypothermia. Erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums. Necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin. Tender at the touch. Slightly sticky. Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know,
要放屁。
I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem
藏什么
limp.
小啊？
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail.
里面住的怪东西。
When we bathed him earlier,
He seemed to feel better?
yes, like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients. Provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
His limbs? His body temperature? I don't know what experiments you've undertaken, but this is going too far.
Oh, I sense some excitement beneath your indignation. Could it be you wish to join me in my scientific endeavors?
You are a brilliant physician, Dr. Fuller, but this man has the attributes of some kind of animal.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Oh, that evidence exists. I'm sure of it. I need to find the missing medical files.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep mum.
An unknown medicine. Judging by the other ones, it causes heavy side effects. Chronic insomnia. Like half the island.
休息。对了。